Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Hope you're doing well. So it's another exciting day in the silver market. Let's start off with this post from x.com that I posted yesterday, July 20th. Now in this post, I wrote silver looks poised for another breakout. I pointed out that there was a bullish MACD cross on the 4-hour chart. That is a signal that preceded the previous run up last week when silver was above $39 for the first time in 14 years. The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, had gotten very overbought on that run up, but it had normalized, and silver was shaping up inside another one of these symmetrical triangle consolidations. And then what happened today? Well, exactly that. We got the breakout in silver. Silver was up over $39 once again. Now it's slightly off of the highs of the day. Right now it's trading for $38.99, but this is still a very bullish, very positive development for silver. And since that post that I put up on X, you can see that the MACD chart has gotten even more bullish here. The RSI is back over 70, but last time the 4-hour RSI got up almost to 85. That was on the run last Monday and Sunday night when silver was up again over 39 bucks when it hit the 14-year record high of $39.12. So right now, we're about 13 cents away from putting in another record high price in silver. Now, what are the factors driving this? They're numerous, of course. The dollar is being devalued. There are structural deficits in the physical silver market. But one factor that I want to discuss today is that Russia may be secretly buying silver, driving the price ever higher. So let's get to it. Buy your gold and silver at SD Bullion. Right now, new customers can get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Now, you might recall this report from the Jerusalem Post from October of last year. This was posted on October 4th, 2024, when it was announced that Russia was going to begin buying silver for the first time ever and adding that to their state fund. Now, they also hold other precious metals there, gold, platinum, palladium, but this was notable that they had announced they were going to begin buying silver. Now, you might recall this, I covered this in a video called Russia's Plan for Silver. I'll put a link in the description. There should be a tab up at the top of the screen right now. If you want to go back and check that video out, I think it would be worth a watch, given the fact that silver is breaking out to the highest price levels in over a decade, the highest level since 2011, in fact. And that was the year, of course, when silver hit $50 an ounce. And Forbes also seems to think that this might be worth taking a look at. Some speculation here in an article published in Forbes last week. Silver might be benefiting from Russian central bank buying. Now, they do point out here that data is scarce, but since Russia revealed a plan late last year to add silver for the first time to its state reserve fund, the silver price has begun outperforming gold. And they give you some numbers here. As of the date that this was published, silver had risen 30.6% year to date compared to gold's 27.5% performance, which, by the way, is not too shabby either. But it is interesting that Russia made that announcement, and that was the turning point when we began to see silver outperform gold. Now, another story which has been circulating, which I think tends to support the idea that Russia is influencing the precious metals markets, is this one. You may have seen this one circulating the interwebs. There have been a few reports of this. I haven't seen it picked up by any major Western news agencies. And this report here is from RussiaPivotsToAsia.com. It's a blog, I guess, that follows this type of news. So take this with a grain of salt. But according to this report, Russia, which is, as they point out here, the world's second largest gold producer, is planning to launch gold trading on its St. Petersburg exchange by the end of the year. So it might not just be silver that Russia has plans for. It sounds like they have plans for gold as well. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this type of move is being made by Russia right around the same time that they have been given a ultimatum, a deadline, a 50-day deadline by the Trump administration to seek a peace deal with Ukraine or face very serious tariffs. And if you ask me, I think we're headed towards a lot more than just more serious tariffs on Russia. I mean, Russia is already probably the most tariffed and sanctioned country in the world. I suspect we are headed for a hot war between NATO and Russia, but at the very least, the economic warfare is about to get cranked up. And this is one way that Russia is seeking to insulate itself from the dollar-based Western financial system. And also, they may be seeking to undermine control of the metals prices that is held in Western exchanges such as the COMEX, the LME, and the LBMA. And if you are a believer in the idea of price suppression on those exchanges, then this could potentially be a very significant development, because the more competition those Western exchanges have, the more difficult it will be for them to suppress the price of the metals. And if you begin to see the price of gold on the St. Petersburg exchange eclipse that of Western markets, what that will trigger is a flow of physical precious metals from west to east. And that may be exactly what Putin is banking on here with this advent of gold trading within Russia. Now, speaking of gold, there's another exciting development coming up with the Goldbacks. They've announced an Oklahoma series launch date. So that's beginning in about a week. On August 1st, they're going to have pre-orders for the new Oklahoma Goldbacks. The official launch date is going to be August 25th. And they've got a sneak preview up here on their website of that one Goldback Oklahoma Goldback note. As usual, it looks like they've outdone themselves with the new artwork. It's looking really good. I can't wait to get my hands on a set of the Oklahoma Goldbacks. But if you're a Goldback fan, make sure you check that out. Now, we've examined this chart of silver where you can see the breakout from consolidation is evident. And, this has been a pattern in silver's bull market. You got another one of these long consolidations here. Here's the breakout, consolidates again, then breaks out to the upside like it did today. But there is a very similar pattern shaping up in gold, goes back a little bit further than the current consolidation in silver. This one goes all the way back to the April highs when the gold price hit $3,500. It's about to reach the high end of this. This chart is also looking very bullish. On gold's 4-hour chart here, you can see there was a MACD cross, a bullish MACD cross just a couple days ago. That was actually on Friday. So we are having a nice day up in gold. Gold is up almost $50 today, up 1.4%. And I suspect we are going to see new highs for gold this year once it breaks out of this pattern. Likely, the breakout from this will take us above the previous high of $3,500. So the pullback and consolidation that we've seen in gold, I think, is something that we should look at as a buying opportunity. Not giving you any financial advice, of course, just giving you my thoughts on these markets. But the whole metals complex is really screaming bull run. Look at platinum here. Platinum today up 2.6%, slightly off the highs. But earlier today, platinum did put in a new decade high once again, rose as high as $1,511, so up over $1,500 the platinum price, slightly off the highs. Looks like we're having a little bit of pullback later in the session, probably some profit taking. But in the case of gold, once it breaks out of the current consolidation and heads above $3,500, I mean, you're in uncharted territory. And the same goes for silver. If we zoom this out, if we get a breakout from this consolidation, if that takes us above $40, which, by the way, Citigroup is calling for a rally beyond $40 an ounce in the coming months. So this isn't just some guy on YouTube forecasting this. Some of the big banks are looking for it as well. But once we get above $40, silver has only been above $40 for a very small amount of time in history. So it's not like there's a big pile of silver that people accumulated over $40 where there's going to be all this selling pressure. I think once we take out that psychological level of $40, it's going to be $50 in very short order. And once we're above 50, it'll be just like gold above 3,500. It'll be uncharted territory. So who knows how high this run could go this year. And when you look at the backdrop against which this is occurring, a geopolitical situation is devolving rapidly. The debts and deficits are exploding, $37.1 trillion in debt and counting, and the deficits just keep going up. Of course, if we do get involved in a Russia, NATO war, those deficits are going to balloon even higher, and it's not going to be good for the dollar, folks. And that means that hard assets, at least in dollar denominated terms, are likely to be increasing. And the fact that Russia may be launching its own gold trading system and their central bank may be secretly hoarding silver in the background, they're not buying COMEX contracts, they're buying the real physical tangible stuff. So if you ask me, that's what we stackers should be doing as well. Leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think about that. But that's it. That's your silver update for the day. Leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think about all the topics we covered. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe and happy stacking, and I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker out.